Good day, good evening, good morning, everybody. Globally, we are live on multiple channels, and we are today to talk about artificial intelligence and how comes that artificial intelligence knows what you want. You open up a website, and artificial intelligence knows where are you looking or where are you to look. And then there are people doing these websites and doing these apps, and they design that thinking about where would you look. And there are robots serving to these people, and that's what we are to dig into with Kamile, who actually is a founder of a company that, produces these robots or trains these robots, since that's a better term. And before we switch to Kamile, let's make a small detour and introduce who's talking. Currently, it's me, so I'm the techie person here. And so if something goes wrong with the stream,
it's his fault.
That's me. That's my role here.
This is me, Lera. I'm the artist and just being Gen Z here.
I'm Karina. I have a little bit of background in sales, let's put it this way. And usually I'm the one asking business questions.
And little bit is just 8 years.
Just a tiny bit. Yeah. So
yeah. Kamile, tell a bit about yourself by yourself, because I bet I missed something interesting. So you can tell a bit yourself.
Sure, of course. So, hey everyone, I'm Kamile, CEO and co-founder of Attention Insight. Today, I'm on the spot representing our company. Short intro about me. I'm a marketer myself. I worked in agencies and as a CMO for years before launching Attention Insight. And funny story is that Attention Insight was actually born from frustration of all marketeers. So having a lack of data and having a lack of consumer insights during the pre-launch stage of the campaign or an app or a website. So basically, when you launch a campaign, you have Google Analytics, you have Facebook Analytics, you have all sorts of platforms where you can track performance of your campaign. But before you launch it and when you are designing it, you're basically stuck with yourself, your personal opinion, opinions of your colleagues, and if you have budget and time, certain user surveys or user feedback interviews. And we decided with the team to change this, and we decided to introduce the tool that enables marketeers and business owners to optimize their websites and campaigns prior to their launch. And that would be easy to use. So that kind of shortly about me and the company.
And you got a funding, and you got accepted to Google Accelerator, and you launched on Appsumo. And we have so many questions, but let's start.
I want to just firstly ask, can you a little bit dive deeper into your product? Can you a bit explain more how it works? Because, it sounds so cool, but I don't really understand what's going on.
Artist, I did my best. To brief her, but I think you can do it better.
Sure. Yeah, that's why I'm asking Kamile, not you.
Yeah, sure, of course. Happy to. So from the user perspective, is super easy to use online platform. So basically you log in, you upload the designs or materials that you want to test. You click analyze, then you grab yourself a cup of coffee, and before the coffee is done, you already have results. And let's pick up the hood and dive a bit deeper how we do it. So basically the main results that our clients receive are attention heat maps, which basically shows you how users would see your design, how they would interact with your design, what elements will they see and what elements will they miss. Behind the platform is AI algorithm that predicts human attention. Basically, imagine that we built an artificial eye, which represents users worldwide, and we trained this eye with actual user research data. So we trained it with data of 30,800 eye tracking studies. So firstly, we show to the algorithm basically how human vision operates, so how we see colors, shapes, faces, different environments. And then we trained it on different content types. So how users interact and see landing pages, how they interact and see e-com stores, how they interact and see posters or packaging design. So at the moment, we have this artificial eye that can predict human attention with the accuracy of 90% in comparison with real world eye tracking studies. So that means if you would take attention heat map out of expensive 50K eye tracking study and a heat map predicted by attention and sight, those heat maps would match 90%. And the accuracy of our technology is approved by MIT accuracy benchmark. So our
So it
clients
also includes the like fonts, sizes, like colors. So
Engines.
well,
not
basically,
funny.
it doesn't evaluate text itself like a context what is written, but it treats text as an object. So how much attention will go to the headline? How much attention would it go to CTA? How much attention would it go to a product image or a person within the frame? So it basically sees the design in a way that we would.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Ollie, we don't hear you for some reason. Maybe something is disabled.
I'm just imagining how you were training these robots. Like 30,000 you said. So like did you touch 30,000 people in front of webcams, or how did the training look like?
Mm-hmm. Well, so basically, we formed a data pool of eye tracking studies. So they came from our own studies. So, yes, we did torture people in front of cameras and in front of eye trackers. We also dug into the academia sources because we have co founders who are researchers. I worked in eye tracking field as well. And we also have certain collaborations with laboratories that are working on eye tracking research, and we are constantly updating our data pool. So at the moment, we are organizing also a big eye tracking study that will happen this year. So we don't torture people, but we do tend to sometimes look where they're looking, and then we feed this data to our AI.
What markets are you working on at the moment? I've read you started from US and Germany. Is there something additional? Maybe the article I read was old.
Well, yeah, at the moment, our main market is US. Of course, we're working in Europe as well. So, in terms of geography, we have users from Germany, UK, Italy, Netherlands, Lithuania, all the Baltics, Scandinavia, and we have certain accounts in Asia as well. So, we don't limit ourselves to geography because we're software as a service. So, basically, anyone can create an account. We now have increased number of clients from Australia as well. So it's kind of when we started, we looked global from the day one. We actually launched our product in Germany while living in Germany. So
Ah.
And who is the typical user? Is it e-commerce?
Mm-hmm. So the typical user would be either digital agency that is working with clients and developing websites and campaigns, or a marketing manager or CMO of a medium or small brand that is also launching a lot of marketing campaigns or websites.
I'm thinking that right now there are so many instruments that are helping you to build the website from the scratch, like a constructor. How cool would it be to have this technology implemented already there so that you build it and then you already know how people will react? I mean, those are not, of course, will be like a super loaded websites, but still.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thought because we were thinking towards the same angle. As mentioned, we are software as a service, but we also have integrations. So we actually built integration from Chrome, which is most popular browser worldwide. And while you're building your site in Wix or in Shopify or in any other WooCommerce or WordPress site, you can actually, with our extension, analyze your site prior to their launch just by clicking few buttons. So you can already access the heat maps while you're designing the website.
Mm-hmm.
1,000 plus users, 1,000 plus downloads of your Chrome plugin, as I see on the Chrome store. So that's cool.
Yeah,
Super cool.
Yeah, we are happy that our Google Chrome community is growing. As Alex shortly mentioned, I was also a part of Google for Startups. So one of the cool things about that community is that we can keep in touch with both Google employees and as well as alumni uh, every year. So we will actually work with some of the mentors to figure out kind of could be cool promotional strategies for Google Chrome extension. And this is not actually the only extension that we have, because we have integrations to Sketch, Adobe XD, and very soon we'll have integration with Figma. So designers that are working with our tool can get heat maps inside the tools that they're working while they're doing the design.
Okay, so it's even predicting before you design something.
Well, like during the design, of course, we need to have something to predict on, but yeah, it's kind of it's process where you can constantly get feedback from your users. You design a layout, you click on attention inside integration, you have a heat map, and you see, well, this is great. My headline is visible, but whoops, for some reason, the call to action button didn't pop out. You move it around, maybe increase contrast or size or position or something of the button, and then you can analyze again and see how that affected the user attention. Because we don't see object as one. We don't just look to the copy or just look to the call to action or just look to the image. We look at as a whole. So it's super cool to see how small changes or even big changes affect the user attention.
But while the idea looks so cool, I'm just wondering, where would the actual neural network run? On a user's device, on your servers? If like a million designers are, fiddling with buttons, how many servers, which I presume would need to have like server-grade GPUs to run the neural network? I mean, just tell us about the technology. Does it scale, or is it just a dream, a utopian dream? But
No, it's actually a very good question. So we host our AI in Google Cloud. We also have scalable resources. So whenever a person is clicking on analyze the image button, the image itself actually gets sent out to the cloud, and we do the predictions and we send back the heat map. So we don't use the resources of a person who is designing. We only take the image and then give back the result. Therefore, the solution is super scalable. We actually did quite severe load testing before launching in Product Hunt and in Appsumo. So our system can provide quite a few analyses simultaneously, and it built in a way that while the product is scaling and the service is scaling, the technology part will scale automatically as well.
I'm actually interested about in the analysis, something that you mentioned at the very beginning before we switch to the money topic. Can I ask this? You mentioned that you were missing some of the data in Facebook or Google whenever you launch in the campaign. What was the data you were missing, and what is it that you actually have right now?
Sure. So basically, the data that you're missing is how the campaign will perform and how the image will be perceived. Because before you launch it, you have zero data available. You only have the data after you hit the publish button. And what happens is that only fraction of the creatives that we launch are actually successful. And all the optimization that can happen in a pre-launch stage is critical. Because like if you already see that your poster or your ad does not serve the purpose, so for example, the product is not visible or the main message is not visible or design is too scattered, so it doesn't make sense to launch the ad, pay money for it, and don't get the results. So we're covering the pre-launch stage. And like if now you need to do an A/B testing, wait for a few weeks to see which creatives performs better, with Attention Insight, you can already optimize a lot in the pre-launch stage. So it's a very good kick for the beginning to already launch with a appropriate design, and then of course you can improve on that.
So it works with both, with websites, let's say e-commerce, and then with creatives as well, covering like the marketing stuff. Okay.
Yes.
Is there something else that I haven't asked, but it's still there? There's some other sector that you're covering, but we just don't know it yet.
Well, we're working with packaging design and product design, but this is again in the same marketing world. So basically, optimizing a packaging design and getting access to user feedback while you do packaging design. And also, one of the things that is not available yet in our app solution, but we offer it for our clients kind of in service basis, is video analysis. Because we already have a branch built in for analyzing video ads. So these would be two that we haven't covered yet.
I just can't imagine how many Google cloud servers do you have, like with all that artificial intelligence doing all this work.
Quite a few, but of course we optimized a lot. So there's only certain things that run in the background during the analysis itself.
But like for the video, there is just, I mean, you have to analyze every frame.
Yeah.
Like,
well, this is a good this is a good angle. This is one of the why it's still not available online, but it's available a bit offline, because we're kind of now the build up of the infrastructure to host the model is quite complicated. So we put it in our roadmap. But for now, we are focusing mostly on images. And we also provide on top service if a client decides to do video test as well.
While I'm here, I'm thinking about like all these studies that you might like to figure out where would people look. But people in different countries, in different cultures, consume content differently. And like the person in this chat who is quite young would totally consume the internet and website and videos and pretty much, and even like the packaging of milk differently from the oldest person in this very chat. So how do you optimize for that?
Mm-hmm. Sure. This was one of the biggest research and development questions that we have during the build of the model. How actually different are the results in between different demographics, different age groups, different genders? Curiously, the answer is not that different. We saw certain variations in between genders and minimal variations within age, but to sum up, the differences are so minor that we decided to build certain additional features of the algorithm before we build up the filters for gender and ethnicity. And I can explain a bit of the logic behind it and why this is happening. Is that we are focusing and predicting attention of first 4 seconds of user interaction. So first time what you see when you open up the design without any intent. So basically, we as humans are reacting to certain stimuli, like, for example, faces or contrast or kind of different colors. And the in depth unconscious reactions of people are quite similar in between user groups. So, this is the magic that we found during the development, is that although, yes, humans are super different and their needs are different and their browsing behaviors are completely different, but their interactions in the first critical seconds are pretty similar. And this also this kind of mesmerized us as well.
Interesting.
Mhm.
And I imagine
Yeah.
also it has to do with the different verticals. The one example I can get out of my head is that because I used to work a lot with ads for games and mobile applications, and this is also something like a huge vertical where you can apply your product and actually check out those creatives even before they are launched, because usually you analyze based on what you've launched, right? And then you collect the data and then you adjust and then you invest more money into the ones that worked actually for you. But I believe it should be also different. I mean, for the videos that you launch for, let's say, mobile application, and then just some video advertising, let's say, e-commerce website like Vinted or something like that.
Yeah. Well, sure. Like verticals matter as well, but we usually kind of the AI provides a version of the human that a brand needs. So let's say if we are talking about the target group who uses games and they are exposed to game, of course, like if I'm not a gamer and I'm not using any games, I will not even bother to stop at the ad. And if I am in your target group, then I will be interested. So, but the core principle of allocating my attention will not shift. Will see the ad since it interests me. I will interact with it, but I will interact with it in the same way that you guys would. So this is why we can test in different verticals as well. It doesn't matter if it's a poster for a gaming ad or if it's a poster for a new piece of clothing. Certain key principles still stands. You still need to make sure that the key messages are seen, the key products are seen, and that user sees them in kind of in a specific way. So this is what we help optimize, is kind of the making sure that the most important things are seen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that totally makes sense. Can we switch to the money topic, or we still
Sure,
have
go
some?
on.
Okay, money topic. I saw while I was researching on the fundraising and everything, how you backed up. I found some information yet that you have received some grants. Can you tell a little bit more about that? How did that work for you, and maybe of some other fundraising things that I haven't mentioned?
Mhm. Sure. So we are backed by several venture capital funds like Open Circle Capital from Lithuania, Co-Invest and Lidbond from Lithuania, and as well as Movens Capital, which is a lead investor in our latest round. But you spotted right on. We also received a research and development grant from Experiment Program, which is a program that is kind of dedicated to small and medium-sized businesses to focus on developing innovations. And AI, of course, is one of the biggest angles. So we prepared our proposal last year. No, I want to say the year before. And then we got a response last year that we went through, and now we are implementing this R&D product, which is covering our data collection and certain development activities. And we're super happy that the government itself and the ministry itself is focusing on supporting innovations. And we are very happy that we were able to fit into the framework and get the grant.
So it took
Something
about a year to actually come up with the decision. Did I get that correctly or not
Well,
really?
it was more of it was more half a year, but then we were on the reserve list, and then we were waiting for certain money relocation. So it took around 9 months to a year. I couldn't be very kind of sure on the timeline itself. The Of course, the thing is that the contest itself was very big. It was actually one of the biggest contents in kind of that program and in that ministry. That's why the evaluation process also took quite a long time. But usually with grants, yes, when you submit the application, usually you need to wait half a year, sometimes a year, until your project runs through. So basically, it's a long-term planning. If you are planning to do certain activities and you would like to get governmental funding on it, you need to think in advance. You need to analyze what type of calls are available and then submit the applications.
wasn't it, I know, frightening to get into the government things where time is, it can be a potentially a time sink, and
Well, I think uh, all the finances are coming with certain level of commitments. It's either equity commitments or implementation commitments and certain time of investment. But as a business owner and as founder, I usually kind of weight the pros and cons. So con of getting the grant is significantly way higher than the sorry, pros are significantly higher than the cons. And also, I do have myself experience in managing European grants. So this helped a bit as well, having a background in it. And of course, making sure that you're not doing everything alone. So we do have third-party providers who are helping us out with reporting. And of course, we hired certain new positions within the company to kind of lighten up the load. So I think it all turns out the way you plan your priorities and goals. And even governmental funding can be super helpful. And of course, it's well equity free, which is always nice.
Sounds
While we
amazing.
are on that, I suggest we use the next 15-ish minutes to talk about maybe your product hunt launch, which you were product number 4 of the week, or maybe your Appsumo launch, where you were quite popular as well, or maybe about the Google Accelerator. So which topic is the dearest to your heart, Kamile?
Well, they are all dear in a very, very different ways because that happened in a very different circumstances and in very different times. So what I can do, I can cover like in few sentences each, and then you guys can decide which one to dig in a bit deeper.
Okay.
Awesome. So, well, Product Hunt. Product Hunt was one of the bigger publicly planned launches that we did last year. It was in the midst of the pandemic. We were planning it for a while. We had great support from teammates, and we had a strategy behind it. We were quite successful, actually. And this is we haven't done any official research, but as far as we know and as far as we dig information, our campaign was the most successful in Lithuania. If you count the upvotes number, upvotes, and the comment ratio. Of course, you cannot compare different products that launched, but it was super nice milestone that we achieved. On top of being the third product of the day and fourth product of the week, what it enabled us to realize, of course, is that the early adopter community is behind us. And they support us, and they actually want to use pre-launch analytics. And of course, it was great for product because we got a bunch of new customers logged in into the platform. This was a great experience overall. And then moving along to Appsumo. Appsumo was recommended by several of other co-founders within my network that had done campaigns before. Appsumo is a lifetime deal platform, which basically I explained briefly as a Kickstarter only for software as a service product. So you offer your product for a community of around 1 million users worldwide. You get an exposure. We chose 30 days campaign. Of course, you need to prepare heavily. We had 24-hour support through the campaign. We had a lot of sleepless nights and super late nights in the office. But at the end of the day, the campaign went great. We were in top 5 of the best campaigns in Appsumo in the third quarter of 2020. So basically, they had around 50 campaigns, so 50, launching during that time, and we were in top 5. So
because you did some IE magic to it.
Well, I wish one thing that also all companies that launch in Appsumo would wish is to have a person or AI who could cover all the questions. We did it ourselves personally. I have no idea how to develop that AI. That would be too complicated. But yeah, that was a team effort. So just kind of big shout out to the whole Attention Insight team who dedicated a lot of time and sleepless nights to the campaign and made sure that all of our clients are super happy with the campaign. And the third one is Google for Startups. So I was selected in the Google for Startups program in Germany. During that time, well, it was so funny because we were in the midst of presenting our product in different German cities. So I recall the application process of I was sitting after 4 or 5 different meetings with Berlin-based agencies. I was sitting at my Airbnb and I knew that I need to submit the application tonight and I needed to film the video for it. And I was planning to do it professionally in our office in Hamburg and everything. Instead, I was like sitting on my couch in Airbnb, super tired. And I was like, hey guys, so it's a startup life. That's why I'm in my Airbnb, in my on my couch, and kind of just I talked about us and why we want to be a part of the program. We got selected in a top 20 startups. So we got a chance to go to Google headquarters in Berlin. We met 15 different Googlers in one day and together with 5 VC companies. So that was, and I, again, sorry guys, I participated in a lot of networking events throughout 2019 and 2018, and I did a lot of it, but that was the most intensive networking experience I've ever had in my life because you basically had I think 5 to 7 minutes with each Googler to present your product, to get feedback, and to figure out how it would fit in that specific domain. So I was sitting firstly with YouTube, then I was sitting with cloud, then I was sitting with head of agencies in Google DACH region. Then I was sitting with a venture capital firm, which is in top 10 in the world. So it all happened in one day. It was awesome experience. And then we startups and mentors, they did a row of like, okay, these are 3 top mentors that I want to work with. And mentors selected 3 top startups that I want to work with. And we were selected, I think around 10 companies got selected in our batch, and we were among one of them. And we got an amazing mentor. We had a mentor of our dreams, Sebastian Virag. He is the head of agencies in Google for more than 10 years. So basically, he is he was working with our ideal customers for like 15 years in different countries. Different Google products. So we worked with him on working on our OKR, so objectives and key results, which is a Google developed planning strategy. We also worked on intros, on the events, and on a lot of product faced kind of things that we were focusing on. It was a great experience, as I said, and we are still in contact with them. I recently had a catch-up call, and we also received a Google grant for 100K for our infrastructure of cloud, which was awesome as well. So again, the program itself was amazing. I really got a lot of it, everything from mentoring all the way to forming networks with other fellow co-founders. So yeah, overall, all 3 experiences were very different. They were very different for me personally and for the team and the product, but they were all amazing.
I'm hypnotized. And so I think Camille actually covered all 3 quite in depth, unless you have questions.
Yeah, I totally.
Camille, we still have a bit of time.
Yeah, sure.
Your team.
Bit of a shout out to the startup community there that are listening. Since we have experience in both launching Product Hunt and launching Appsumo, we're super happy to give back to the community. So if you have things or questions, or you're planning a launch, feel free to ping me on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to share my knowledge. And the team, yes, I was looking for this question because this is the key thing of attention insight.
There is 46 people, 46,000 followers just on Startup Grind's YouTube channel. I'm not sure it scales to route them to LinkedIn, but I mean, people, you were invited. Also, people on Facebooks, on Twitch, on Twitters, I guess, just friend Camille.
Well, what can I say, guys? Tomorrow, I could say to you guys, oh my God, please, can you borrow me your bot because I'm just overwhelmed. But just from the experience, I'm sure not everyone is planning to launch in those specific platforms. And again, I'm super pro community collaboration because I have gazillion co-founders who helped me in my journey throughout these 3 years. I'm mentoring several myself. I have awesome mentors that I could totally cannot afford if I would pay them. So I believe in a giving back to the community. That's why I mentioned it.
So yeah, about the team right now. Tell us, who are those amazing people?
Oh, I have privilege to work with awesome people from different departments. So I will share all of them. Sorry if this will be like a name drop to you guys, but it's super important. And I will try to keep it short. So we have our CMO, Darius. He's the head of marketing. He's focusing on making sure that attention insight is visible in all our social media channels, and as well as presenting our messages in a way that we want them to be presented. We have Donatas. He's our CTO. He's leading our technical team and gazillion things that we want to develop and making sure that all the priorities align, which is a challenge by itself. We have Martinas. He is our head of sales. So he is leading a sales team and as well making sure that our clients are super happy. He has awesome colleague Caesar, who is our Polish branch sales representative. Julius, who is our SDR, making sure to organize demos. And of course, Ugnius, who is also focusing on customer success. Ugnius was actually a super big shout out to Ugnius as masters because he was a lead in our Appsumo support campaign. And Ugnius, to be honest, we haven't done Appsumo that successfully without you. So kudos to you. And also Mindogas S. He is our research and development guy, basically working on collection of the data as we speak, together with our part-time colleagues, Mindogas and Yava, who are focusing on development of the AI algorithm. We have quite a long list of people who are working with us part-time. So Christina, Vestina, all of our content creators, we love you. We cannot do our work without you. And I'm done because
This
is
so
a very
cute.
long list.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. This is pretty much how we get like to the videos, right? So like all the people in the team, like, oh, good. Look, we're pretty much out of time. I was looking for the chats on all the platforms that we're on to see if people have questions. But look, I mean, in a few minutes, we will pretty much jump to the people channel in Discord, right here, people channel, and that's where, if you're in our Discord, you can talk to Kamile. If not, you can just join the Discord and talk to Kamile. Then, so with that, do we jump right on, or do we want to have a chance at the last question?
I think we can jump on already. Yeah, this is how we say goodbye.